Oh yeah. What's up, Solutionaries? Welcome. We a few seconds early. Welcome to the Maj to Ray show every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna have these conversations. We're gonna talk about solutions. We're gonna move forward. If y'all just coming in, y'all know the routine. Smack that like button. Comment where you from. Comment what platform you watching on. And we're gonna keep it going. Huge shouts to everybody supporting the work. You guys know that I'm trapped in an RV. GiveSingle.com/solutionary. Y'all know the routine as well. I want everybody to engage. I want everybody to share the space all over the place. I want you guys to communicate and support the work. We trapped in an RV fundraising to buy our Solutionary Center. For those of y'all that don't know, I'm the founder of Black Lives Matter. I'm the founder of the Solutionary Lifestyle. And our work is community work, Second Amendment work, and all of those other different things. Tony, what's up, brother? He's streaming from YouTube. Appreciate that, bro. Y'all match Tony energy. Comment. Let me know where y'all from. We're gonna talk about some race bait and stuff tonight. Okay. We're gonna have a discussion too about. I would be remiss to not add. We're gonna sprinkle a little bit of this in here tonight. The conversation about Austin, the teenager that was, I think he was a sophomore or a junior over at that high school, and he got stabbed. And it's not just stabbed; he was killed. Okay. And we need to have that discussion, not just because I want everybody to support his family support during this time. If you guys saw my X post, Austin Metcalf is gone. I'm going to read it to y'all real quick. If you don't follow me on X, some of y'all may be watching from X right now, but if you don't follow me on X, follow me there. It's at Maj999, Majtoure 999. I'm going to read this for you guys real quick. Austin Metcalf is gone. I feel terrible for his family, especially his brother who attempted to hold the wound of Austin as he bled out. Prayers and grace for his family and loved ones during this unfathomable tragedy. I'm disgusted by so-called conservatives who use it as an opportunity to race bait instead of supporting his people during this time. Below is the link to support them. Please give what you choose and repost to give them all of the support we can. We're going to mix a little of that conversation in here tonight because I think it's very important that we do. I think that if you are right of center, I think that if you are libertarian, independent, Republican, conservative, because every Republican isn't a conservative, they should be, but they're not. I think that I'm watching some people be very, very fucking disgusting as it relates to turning this into a racial issue. And that's the shit that extreme leftists and weirdos do. But anyway, we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. But the primary topic is opting out. How black men are rejecting liberal ideology and college debt. Okay, so we're going to talk about these two things tonight. Again, guys, you'll know the routine. Every night, we try to get 10 folks to give $20 in Super Chat. Everybody can do math. That's $20. Excuse me, that's $200. 5 nights a week, that's $1,000 for the week. That goes towards our work. But we want everybody to go over to givesingo.com/solutionary and support the work. Into Q-Tips, what's up? Kymer Shadow, what's up? Quantel says, shoot me the link for the Telegram. I will, right after this. Shoot me a DM on whatever platform, too. And we'll make sure that we get everybody in the Telegram group. That's the entry level. I'm going to be very clear with y'all. The entry level for our Solutionary 9 is the Telegram group, okay? The Telegram group is to see that you guys we have a community of people that are pushing each other to get better. And that's the most that I'm going to give you guys as it relates to something free, as opposed to our Solutionary 9 membership, which is $99 for the rest of your life. And again, I've been saying this over the last few days. That Solutionary 9 membership is going to be $999 come December the 31st, January the 1st. Workout plans, meal plans. We help you find out what your macros are. Okay, proteins, carbs, and fats. We come up with meal plans for you, shooting drills. But that costs $99. And if you want to support our work, any donation that you give to our work over $99, we're gonna give you. And if you do $200, we're gonna give you and somebody else a membership to the Solutionary 9, because we want the people that support our work to get something more than the people that don't. So the people that just want to test the waters a little bit, when you tap into the show, or just shoot me a DM and say, hey, Maj, you want to get in the Telegram group, look around and see how we really working and what we're doing for each other. That's the entry level. and then we get you guys all the way in. Again, we got 95 folks in the space right now. I want everybody to share the space. Stop just tapping in, y'all, and look and share this motherfucker, bro. Like, y'all know that these platforms, right, are suppressed. They suppressed. This YouTube page has 34, 35, I think 34,000 people on it, but YouTube only shows it to a certain amount of people. So we need you guys to spread the love for the show. Once we get in that solid algorithm, then it's cool. But since we don't talk about ratchet, disrespectful Americans of all backgrounds, you know, the algorithm might not put us in the algorithm in the best space. So we need you guys to help with that. So share the space all over the place. And I want y'all all to comment. Don't just be in here on some voyeurism shit. Comment. Yo, Maj, I'm from Philly. Yo, Maj, I'm from such and such. Yo, you know what I mean? Smitty Lee says, it's much better to pay $99 now, way better than the future $999 price point. I'm telling y'all, it's a lifetime membership. All of the classes and skill sets and curriculums that'll be added to the membership only era or area, you'll have access to those too. So if we get 10,000 more pieces of content on plumbing, electrical, all of that, and some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, why that's important, you have access to that now. I'm telling y'all right now. Telling y'all right now. Telling you right now. In 9 months, the Solutionary 9 membership is going to be $999. We about to 10x that bitch. Get in now. Donate for others and get a free membership. Okay? So anyway, guys, let's get to it. Again, it's 111 people in the space, 110. Somebody tapped out. Comment, share. Tell me what platform you're watching from. Okay, guys? Very important that we do that. Okay, so I want to read this to you all real quick, okay? Check this out, y'all. At black colleges, a stubborn gender enrollment gap keeps growing. Okay? Check this out. Students, well, we're going to read a little bit of this one right here is from, what's up, Bookworm? This one right here is for, this article came out a few days ago, but it was from New York Times. But the Philadelphia Tribune is the one that I'm reading this from, okay? I want to read this to y'all real quick, and then we're going to tap into the reasons why and some math and data, okay? Before stepping in, now, again, the story is black men, more specifically, but not limited, but this is about black men, are 1,000% being like less involved in the college situation. And I personally think that's great. What's up, Media Maniac? I personally think that's great. But let's read a little bit. Before stepping foot on Howard University's campus, Skylar Wilson knew she would see more women there than men. But just how many more stunned her? Howard, one of the most elite historically black colleges and universities in the nation, is only 25% men, 19% black men. I was like, wow, said Wilson, a 20-year-old junior. How is that possible? Howard is not unique. The number of black men attending four-year colleges has plummeted across the board. And nowhere is this deficit more pronounced than at historically black colleges and universities, or HBCUs. Black men account for 26% of the students at HBCUs, down from an already low 38% in 1976, according to the American Institute for Boys and Men. There are now about as many non-black students attending HBCUs as there are black men. I think that's fucking hilarious. Okay? I think it's hilarious, but I also think it's important for us to communicate what HBCUs traditionally or used to mean. Okay? HBCUs like Cheney University, Lincoln University, Hampton University, Howard University, Morehouse, right? These universities were, you know, first I want to be very clear. These universities were funded and created in a lot of instances by white folks, white liberals, a lot of times. Not all, but they funded and financed a lot of them, okay? Very important for you to know. A lot of that talented 10th energy comes out of that. A lot of that divine 9 situation comes out of that, okay? That separation, we are the uppity ones and we got to da-da-da-da-da-da-da, okay? Now, this also was during a time where high levels of education was kept from black folk. So some of those white liberals was legit trying to hook people up back in the day, okay? That's just what it is, okay? It's just 1,000% what it is. We're not going to lie about it. We're not going to sugarcoat it either way, okay? I am a fan of higher learning and further education. I am a fan of that. But when you look at the historical relevance of what these organizations were crafted and created to do, same as the NAACP, okay? One of my favorite intellectuals, W.E.B. Du Bois. Notice I didn't say black intellectuals. He happened to be black. But one of my favorite intellectuals was W.E.B. Du Bois. And he was funded and financed by he was a member of what we would now call the Boule. Okay? Boule is a French word that means assistant to the king. The black people that's just helping out the so-called elite. Okay? And they pitted him against Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was 1,000% do for self. It was, we got to up you mighty race. Marcus Garvey created this thing called the Universal Negro Improvement Association, or the UNIA. That was there during a time when it was serious racism towards black folks. Like, let's not act like the shit was all peaches and cream, okay? I personally believe that the vast majority of those fucking hurdles don't exist for black people in America to the same extent. I'll say it that way. But at the same time, there's certain systemic issues that still exist, or the remnants of those things. But anyway, they pitted Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois against Marcus Garvey, and towards the end of his life, W.E.B. Du Bois, who was a part of that Boule organization, that black elite or the talented 10th, that they prompted to go to these HBCUs and things of that nature, he changed his mind towards the end of his life. And what he said was, basically, Marcus Garvey was 100% right. Okay? And Marcus Garvey created the UNIA, and at the height of its organizational strength, it had about, I think, maybe 8 million members, pre-internet, pre-phone type shit, right? Wi-Fi, cell phones, right? And so Liberia is because of Marcus Garvey. The red, black, and green flag is because of Marcus Garvey. The Black Star Line, which is a line of steamships that people that wanted to go develop relationships in the motherland of Africa, that was because of Marcus Garvey. But they put a W.E.B. Du Bois against him, and that was because they didn't want that class of just grassroots, hardworking, everyday man black folk. Okay? I personally believe that both are important and both are necessary. Both. When you do one without the other, and that's across all, fucking backgrounds, right? Racial backgrounds. But saying this to say, there was some value of those HBCUs out of those historical contexts of people putting people against each other. They did it, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, they always do that. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they kind of did that at the time, okay? So there was a very, very importance of higher education and higher learning at that particular time. We will not pretend like, that's not the actual case, okay? But we have to tell that story in full context when we're talking more specifically about HBCUs. I think that's a very important sidebar for me to interject before we move on here, okay? Again, guys, there's 165 of you in the chat right now. I want everybody, if you just tapped in, we're having this discussion about HBCUs. Black men are rejecting liberal ideology and college debt. This ain't just about not going to college, okay? So if you guys come in, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you comment, ask questions, tell me where you're from, what city are you from, what platform are you looking from, okay? And obviously, every day, if you get some value from the class, from the show tonight, I say class, right? Because we teach, we solutionaries. We talk about these things to turn them into solutions. If you get some value from tonight, support the work. GiveSingo.com/solutionary. If you're watching on X, it's my pinned post right above, okay? So let's read a little bit more. Howard is not unique. The number of black men attending four-year colleges has plummeted across the board. And nowhere is this deficit more pronounced than at historically black colleges and universities. Black men account for 26% of students at HBCUs, down from an already low 38% in 76, according to the American Institute for Boys and Men. There are now about as many non-black students attending historically black colleges and universities as there are black men. Okay? The decline has profound implications for mobility, family formation, and wealth generation. I disagree with that shit. I disagree, and we're going to go into why. Raj Chetty, a Harvard University economist who studies economic opportunity, has found that the income gap between America's black and white populations is entirely driven by differences in men's economic circumstances, not women's. I want to read that again for y'all, okay? This Harvard University economist who studies economic opportunity has found that the income gap between America's black and white populations is entirely driven by differences in men's economic circumstances, not women's. Now, clearly, He said economic circumstances. He did not say educational circumstances or college level circumstances. It's a very key distinction. But let's read a little bit more. The causes are many. Higher college costs, the immediate financial needs of black families, high suspension rates in high school, and a barrage of negative messages about academic potential all play roles in the decline of black male enrollment and college completion. Howard estimates that its cost of attendance for undergraduates easily exceeds $50,000 a year. Not your whole 4 years, $50,000 a year. At HBCU Howard is $50,000 a year. That's $200,000. Let's be very clear. Listen, guys, Bookworm just said it. Don't forget to like, peeps. It's free. It costs you nothing to hit the like button, everybody. Okay? Very important. Zim says, that's good that black people are rejecting liberal, or should I say liberal ideology in college. Can they reject collectivism in black culture too? It's a good thing. Bookworm says, the government ruined college. Government is not our friend. And I'm going to go into that too. David Vane says, after the Jacobite rebellion ended with the Battle of Culloden, Scottish Highlanders were disarmed by the British government. Don't give up your firearms. Okay, we love it. Black Guns Matter. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. not sure, but I'm glad you threw it in there. Not sure what it got to do with tonight. What's up, IC? How are you? So, $50,000 a year for an already economically distressed community. A community that, and this ain't no victim mentality shit, this is just historical data. A community that has been impacted by Jim Crow, redlining, segregation, just all of those different things. One of the biggest keys of generational wealth is home ownership. Home ownership, when you have things like cities like, Ferguson, that goes and decades ago used eminent domain. This town's called Overtown in Miami that used eminent domain to knock over old homes owned for eminent domain and highways. These things had economic impact, okay? So you're asking a group of people that have had economic impact, negative, government-sponsored, and that's before we even get to the fact that when the government got involved in loans for colleges, okay? In loans for colleges, that skyrocketed. When the government got involved and said, we're going back to loans, the schools and the Department of Education and all those dudes said, yo, raise the prices, because even if the kids default, we're going to be backed by the government. Okay? This makes sense. Yeah, to them. This makes sense. So then the prices of this goes up. So now Howard is easily $50,000 a year. And then some of the men that are there are like, I'm not fucking doing that. But let's read a little bit more. Quote, he says, if we're serious about reducing race gaps in economic opportunity, household wealth, etc., then our attention should be squarely focused on economic outcomes for black boys and men, period, full stop, said Richard Reeves, president of the American Institute for Boys and Men. Now, this is where it gets propagandy. And I'm going to read these next couple of, whatevers. And then we're going to tap in, and I'm going to give you guys my perspective. This part where it get real propagandistic. Programs designed to nurture black academic achievement may be dismantled by the Trump administration, which deems them racist. Diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Now, this is fucking cap. This was written by the New York Times, even though this is a backup article, because, publications share articles. This is from the Philadelphia Tribune. But this part is cap. Cultural centers, mentorship programs, workforce recruitment activities, and scholarship programs are all threatened by the White House's promise to cut funding to universities that do not eliminate what it calls racial preferences. On Wednesday, Trump asked the Supreme Court to allow him to terminate more than $600 million in teacher training grants, which would decimate 2 Education Department professional development programs designed to place teachers in underserved schools and diversify the workforce. That's the end of that article. But let me tell y'all how that's big cap. They just did a magic do-si-do on everybody right there. The magic do-si-do was, talk about the percentage of black men that are not at Howard University or are at Howard University. Explain the plummet. Hey, in 1978, it was 38%. Now it's this amount of percent. Then they sped it up and said, oh, This is going to get worse under the Trump administration. Trump was not the fucking president since 1978. It wasn't. But you know what happened in the 60s and 70s? Government grants and social work that separated the unity of the family. Again, the context is important. When you have welfare programs that said, hey, we'll give you welfare as the mom, but you can't have a dad in the house. Okay? Trump wasn't the fuck around when that happened. Okay? Then when you have false diversity, equity, and inclusion situations, like we just saw the Pete Hegseth in the Department of Defense saying, we're going to raise the standard to be combat ready. Everybody can apply for it, but if you don't meet the standard, regardless of your race, sexual orientation, or gender, if you don't meet that requirement, you can't get in. But we want everybody, whoever wants to get in, to get in. But you got to meet a requirement. That is the levelest playing field of equality I've ever heard of in my life. But they don't call it that. So this article makes that spin that way to make it appear as somehow this is going to be damaging. And even though it started since 1978, somehow the Trump administration is going to make it worse, and they're responsible for it. Never to talk about leftist ideology that talk down on the black men. Because we're talking about HBCUs right now more specifically, but it ain't limited to. They're not talking about the fact that they treated these black men less than. They're not talking about that they used all of their propaganda to make every father, including in television, look like an absolute moron and loser. They packaged the working man as less than. They made all of these beta motherfucking intellectuals that can't do anything as the prize. And now you know what's happening? That was the good times that strong men created. And now we got all these weak motherfuckers that can't do anything. You know what I did in the RV today? Let me tell you what I did in the RV. There was something wrong with the microwave. I fixed it. I went, got a screwdriver set because I left it out of the RV. I forgot, had to go buy it, took the shit apart, fixed it. You know, a few days ago, what happened? Y'all might notice I got some content coming on it, but the water filter housing unit broke. I had to fix it. A few days before that, the electric went off. I had to figure that shit out. And I can communicate and talk to solutionaries. That's the importance of having community. And they say, oh, Maj, you got to try this. One of the homies is a solutionary from California. Hit me, was like, Maj, I'm an RV, I'm a specialist. I work at Camping World. I got you. Whatever you need. That was more impactful for my life than the Pythagorean. So they're not having this discussion about how they talk down on these men, how they made them feel less than. The government was involved in raising the price of a college degree, and the level of education that has practical value for your life has been decreased. Government got the fuck involved. And we all know this from high school. Give me a show of hands in the comments. Somebody tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me, I want the smoke. I want y'all to prove me wrong in the comment section. Tell me anybody in here that went to high school. How many people in here, but just let me know. How many people in here were taught the Pythagorean theorem? Tell me. Tell me in here. I want you 235 of y'all in the chat right now or watching right now on whatever platform you're watching on. Tell me right now in the comment section or give me a like if you learned about the Pythagorean theorem in high school. David Venn says, I was. Smitty says, oh yeah. Kymer Shadow says, I don't even remember what it is. Bookworm says, I did. The Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Let me know. Somebody else. Into Q-Tip says, I taught myself how to fix my washer, fix computers, cook like a boss, etc. Rasmain says he was taught it. Pythagorean theorem. Judicially affirmed was taught it. Media Maniac was taught it. Now, everybody that said yes, nobody said no. Everybody that said yes, I want y'all to tell me, when since high school have you ever fucking used the Pythagorean theorem? Tell me. Tell me when you showed up to that job interview and it was on the line. It was on the line and you were almost there. And they hit you with the, what's the Pythagorean theorem? And you, like Kobe, 2 seconds left, pulled up from the 3-point arc in game 7 and was like a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Tell me when they hit you with that and you switched it. Nylon. And got the job, paying $200,000 a year. Tell me. Tell me. Tell me. Anybody tell me. Where the fuck it was at? Look. David says, I've never used it. Razmain said, I don't even fucking know. Bookworm says, high school is all about throwing a bunch of stuff at you and hoping it sticks, so-called general education. Media Maniac says, not once. Smitty says, right, just like calculus ain't used either. Listen to me, y'all. That shit was cat. So, and that shit was free. They indoctrinated you that way for free. The college scam, so when I posted up a video and said, yo, I'm glad more men not fucking going to college. Oh, they got a little mad at me when I said that. But I got to back it up with that. I got to quantify my statement. And we're going to do that tonight. Again, guys, if you're tapping in, 253 people in the spot, comment, tell me where you're from, because everybody ain't comment. I want everybody comment. Tell me where you're from. All right? Hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Just periodically hit the like button, y'all. Hotep Saori says, I had to use it to help with a piece of carpet. That's the first time I've ever heard that shit, bro. Congratulations. You got your degree for it. Thank you. All right. So all of this was said. All of this was done. All of that context that's missing from articles like this, right? And in the process of all of that, they thumbed their nose up at the working man. They did. They said he ain't shit. He ain't whoop-de-whoop, that all of that shit. Okay? But then let's look at this. I want to show y'all something real quick. Let's look at it. The new trend. This article right here that I'm about to share with y'all, this one here, is from 2 years ago. This ain't a new trend. Now all of a sudden they want to act like it's a thing because, oh, the black men, the base that we're trying to control the most, they're not buying into the matrix anymore. This ain't new. Again, that first article said since 1978. And they not telling you the reasons why. And they also not telling you the benefits of why you shouldn't. Did y'all know that I'm a high school dropout? I left in the 10th fucking grade. I started making money. Money. I do pretty okay for myself. Being a $200,000 RV. It's a little old, but it's mine. There ain't no debt on it. Okay? I'm a high school dropout. I read everything. I love being informed. Okay? But they not going to tell you. They're going to pretend like this is a new thing to scare them black men back into position. Do we tell you? It's like Obama showing up, chastising the black men that didn't want to, showing up to vote for Kamala. Let's read this. Fewer young men are in college, especially at four-year schools. College is from the Pew Research Center. College enrollment among young Americans has been declining gradually over the past decade. This is from a decade prior to the year 2022. The total number of 18 to 24-year-olds enrolled in college was down by approximately 1.2 peak in 2011. Most of the decline is due to fewer young men pursuing college. About 1 million fewer young men are in college, but only 0.2 million fewer young women. As a result, men make up 44% of young college students today, down from 47% in 2011, according to the newly released U.S. Census Bureau. Do you know why there's a bunch of women that's down with that? Because the system is designed to make sure that the masculine energy is not, the system want to deal with the women, don't want to deal with strong men. That's why in your bank, it's not in chat cashing places, it's mostly women, not men. They don't want to deal, and this is a throwback from slavery. When captivity was happening in America, they made the women, they wanted to deal with the women. Break the man down mentally, make the woman be the head of the household, but make the man still physically strong so he can lift shit. Okay? So this same, it ain't just, it was only isolated to the black community. Oh, the black community was just the fucking test market. All of us Americans we rolling this shit out to all of y'all. Fuck you thought. Fuck you thought. We want power. We want to control all of y'all. But if the whites be like, oh, it's cool because it's just the blacks, we could get it off a little bit easier. Same thing as gun control. You feel me? So I wanted to showcase y'all like this ain't just no motherfucking like, oh, it's just the black dudes are like, fuck college. But again, even in this, right? Even in this, they still not really telling us why. Why? What did the government have to do with the price of fucking college skyrocketing? When we say the Department of Education needs to be dismantled, the Department of Education is responsible for the vast majority of student loans. Did y'all know that? They're not for like teaching high school and school students. They only make up about 13% of the budget for public schools across the country, the Department of Education. They're responsible for the fucking college loan shit. You understand? So they're not telling us that you raised the rates, you did this, you did that, da 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 da. But they like, oh, we got to get them back. Then they target the situation and say, hey, we definitely need the black men because we got to keep them on point. If we can keep the black community, primarily in urban America, boxed the fuck in, and there are big fucking populations of so-called people of color, melanated beings in these big, densely populated cities, Chicago, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Atlanta, obviously Atlanta, DC, Miami, right? After reconstructions in the Civil War and things of that nature, a lot of these people went in an industrial era, right? These black folks went to different cities for industrial opportunities. The Northeast, even LA, a lot of them dudes back in the 80s, in the 70s and 60s, they family and they generations prior to had came from the South. Okay? My point in saying this is, now if we can concentrate and control this black community, it's the same thing I've been telling y'all about the gun control conversation. It's the same play, just ran on different topics. So if we can convince the black men, even though the data is showing the same instance for all men, if we can target the black message and say, you guys got to get back in college. You guys got to get in debt. You guys got to get a fucking 4-year degree at an HBCU. And HBCU is the less expensive end. And Howard is $50,000 annually. We want you to get in debt for $200,000 for a degree that Shelly 208 just says you ain't even fucking using for the most part. Now you a slave to the system. Because as soon as you get out, they ain't deferring them payments for too long. And most people don't turn over and generate resources. They're not entrepreneurs. 3% of the world is entrepreneurs. That funds and fuels the other 97%. So if you're not a part of that, you ain't turning the money over fast enough. Now you in debt. Now you got to take the first job to show up. And you're not disciplined because the school ain't teach you about discipline, working out, civics, understanding imminent threat, growing food. You ain't do none of that. You got a soy latte cake baking motherfucking degree. They made you thumb your nose up at the working man, the plumbers, the electricians, the carpenters. They made that shit that I did in my microwave today. Probably would have either had to buy another microwave, $200, or pay somebody $200, $150 to show up and do the same thing I did in 10, 15 minutes. You understand? They trying to trick you, but they not telling you that whole story. And so many strong men that are still masculine, like, I'm not fucking with that. I'm not going into debt $150,000. For all of that, you should go to a community college and take class on a specific thing. But, what does America need now? We're going back in the direction of manufacturing. I want y'all to understand that. The tariff conversation that just happened yesterday on Liberation Day, that's what they dubbed it. America about to get back into the manufacturing. You seeing more and more communities leaving them big cities. It's cat. This shit ain't what it is no more. But you got to build the infrastructure. So when I say that, and people laughed at me, and da-da-da-da-da, Maz, you just saying that because you a high school dropout, the whoop-de-bat, that. Here we go, guys. Here is on average how much they make with the degrees. Highest degree, high school diploma. We're going to skip over the median weekly earnings. We're going straight to the annual earnings. High school diploma. I dropped out. Okay? 46 grand. Let's say 47. We're going to round everything up. We're going to round everything up. If you got a high school diploma, 47 grand a year is your average. I definitely make more than fucking 47 grand a year. I left in the 10th grade. I'm so glad I fucking left. Right? Next, associate degree. $55,000 a year. Bachelor's degree, $77,000 a year. Master's degree, $90,000 a year. Doctorate, $109,000 a year. Let's say 110. Professional degree, 115. Howard is $50,000 a year. 200,000. Howard is a HBCU, and the price is a little bit lower. That's 200,000. Not one of these motherfucking jobs say $200,000 a year. Not one of them. Now, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, cool. You gotta do certain shit. I still think you should go to a fucking community college. If you can. That's what you want. But most people ain't doing that. We are in the era right before people are about to get serious about manufacturing again. Drill, baby, drill conversation in oil. It's about to be the same thing back in manufacturing. That tariff negotiation that Trump is doing, we did a live on that yesterday about tariffs. Make sure y'all go to check that out. YouTube.com/Maj Toure if you're watching this on a different platform. Subscribe to the channel, everybody. Okay? Share the show. Share the space. My point in saying this is that tariff conversation is about, hey, y'all are more dependent on the sales that y'all get for y'all GDP, y'all GDP is way more dependent on us buying shit in America than us buying shit, y'all buying shit from us. So the tariff negotiations, especially when we had a limited government, tariff negotiations is a good tactic. But we also, as we said last night, we got to chop down some of this federal government size. Because tariffs alone right now, with the overbloated size of government, won't fund it. It used to fund all of federal government. Over 90% of it was funded through tariffs before 1913. What other magical shit happened in 1913? Okay? But as we're getting more in alignment with manufacturing, I'm telling y'all this. Let's just look at, I don't know, guys. Let's just look at what a master plumber makes annually. This is from ZipRecruiter. I picked a liberal city, Los Angeles, California. In a liberal city, the average plumber, a master plumber salary in Los Angeles, California, is $86,000 a year. No $200,000 debt needed. When you're talking about all of these people, black communities, because we're talking about HBCUs, black communities are the largest new homeschooling group. Okay? Massive amounts of all backgrounds of people are leaving these big cities for small towns. These small towns are about to explode in growth. America's going to go from just the East Coast and the West Coast, and there's going to be more rural, small towns. That's what more people that have lived in city life for so long are clamoring for. Okay? Limited government. Mississippi just got rid of their income tax like last week. Okay? You're about to see a different renaissance, y'all. Okay? Ironically, as Bookworm says this, ironically, as more people opt out of college, the prices will go down and jobs will stop having outrageous entry-level standards. It is what it is. One of the best ways to vote is with one of the best ways to vote is with your dollar and with your feet. I'm out. I'm not fucking with that. I'm out. Okay? I'm not. And then they'll go, oh, we can't run this scam no more. The market won't bear it. You have more power than you know, guys. Don't let them condition you into believing that this is the only way. It's cat. Our work is cited in the Supreme Court Bruin decision. Black Guns Matter is cited in the Bruin decision. I am a fucking high school dropout. We have been responsible for millions and millions of people across the country buying guns and getting involved in the Second Amendment space. I didn't have to spend $200,000 in degrees to learn how to do that. And we've made an impact on American history. Do not let them trick you, solutionaries. When you start feeling like, damn, maybe I should just go with what they're telling you. I'm telling you, evaluate it a little bit differently. That's them nagging and trying to make this packaging look like it's what it's not. These are people that work at Starbucks now and they got $150,000, $200,000 worth of debt. But okay, Maj, you got me right on the plumbers. But Maj, What if I don't want to be a plumber? What if I don't want to deal with shit? That's fair. That's fair. The average master plumber, no $200,000 debt needed. The average master plumber, $79,936 per year. Nationwide. I didn't even do a liberal city. Across the board, a master plumber, across the board in America makes close to $80,000 a year. Let's say you go to school and you pay for plumbing. I learned to be a plumber. Let's say it costs you 20 grand. Let's say you do. Does America need more plumbers and electricians and carpenters? As more unlawful immigrants are getting booted out and more Americans can get those jobs, wouldn't it make sense for you to be a fucking electrician or a plumber? You fuck around and tell somebody, yo, bro, I don't know none of this shit. When on my off days, can I come work with you and you teach me? You might fucking be able to learn how to be a journeyman for the price of a couple of beers and some time and some elbow grease, as America was built. Listen to me, y'all. It's very important. Dre Harden with the $5 super chat says, people like Maj are disruptive and necessary. Uncomfortable, but necessary. I appreciate your work. Thank you there, my brother Dre. I appreciate tremendously for that. Listen, guys, support the goddamn work. Dre just gave a $5. Everybody in here give a $5 super chat. Give a $5 super chat. We got to get this building bought, right? I'm not, I want to learn to be a plumber and a mechanic, but I got to finish the work that we already started. My job is to translate this stuff to y'all and give y'all data and facts so you can combat some of the leftist propaganda that they definitely throwing on you every single day. That's why you tap into the Maj 2 ratio, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's my job. I work for y'all. Help. GiveSingo.com/solutionary. Let's get 10 people. There's 336 folks watching right now. Let's get 10 folks and say, all right, Maj, I'll join the Solutionary 9, but I don't want you to join it directly. I want you to donate $99 or more to GiveSendGo.com/solutionary so I can give you the lifetime membership for free. We have plumbing, electrical, and carpentry content coming and the curriculum for it. Get it now. It's $99. Donate for somebody else. Donate for somebody else. Okay? If you donate for somebody else, I'm going to give you the membership. It's a lifetime membership. So when the electrician, the plumbing, and the carpentry shit post up, and the food growing shit post up, you have access to that too. Help me, guys. I work for y'all. GiveSingo.com/solutionary. I need everybody's support. Everybody's support. But let's say, guys, let's say you all don't want to be an electrician. Let's say you don't want to be a plumber. Okay? Thank you, Scrap and Beauty. Love you, Maj. Education is key. Whether trade or other, learn something to be someone. That's 1,000% in alignment with what I'm about to say. I don't care what you decide to do. I, as your brother, want you to figure out what your purpose is. In the Solutionary 9, all this week, our conversation in our Telegram group, get a membership. We are helping people find and execute their purpose. Mine's is sales and service. I know what my purpose is. I serve. I know that. I'm good at sales and I'm good at service. Okay? That is my purpose. I love working for y'all. But some people, a lot of people don't know what their purpose is. I am telling you that you can find your purpose without the propagandistic bullshit that has been designed to make you think that you have to go 100, 200, 3, maybe even $500,000 in debt to find your purpose. That is cap. That is the media operating and conspiring with the state to make you a mental and financial slave. I'm going to say that again. That is the media in tandem and conjunction with the state to propagandize you to believe that you have to be a financial and mental slave in order to find your purpose and help and serve and be the best dad, mom, community member that you can. And it's cat. It's 100% a lie. I am a high school dropout. I never touched college. I don't have any firearm certifications. I don't want them. Not saying that they bad, but I don't want them. You can study the information, find communities of people that are willing to help you, find mentors, work with those mentors, get challenged by the communities of people that you put yourself in as pushing you to evolve and be. And you can do these things without going into debt. You can do that by being of service to others. That is literally the reason why I always tell y'all, don't just buy a Solutionary non-membership. Donate. Help somebody else, which is an act of service. When y'all donate to our work, we help other people. Y'all see the work that we do. And then you get that membership. They do not want us to work. And I used to hate that. They, fucking DJ Khaled. Who is they? They don't want you to win. But over time, my lived experience has shown there are a small, select few of very powerful people that control media, industry. They have their own worldview. They don't give a fuck about yours. And their agenda is to make you consume until you die, be a slave the entire time, feeding you food that's killing you while they sell you shit that's going to keep you alive a little bit longer while you maintain being a financial and mental slave. That exists. I'm telling y'all, we have a way out. I got damn near a decade of running around the country, seeing what's wrong with our people, Americans, and coming up with solutions. And we got a group of people that will help you do that. Guys, givesendgo.com/solutionary. Pay it forward for somebody else. I'm going to sit on one of these phones after this show tonight. Everybody that donates, I'm going to send you an email, access to all of the shit that I just said. We have to work together. We are individuals that pay it forward for others to make our collective better, and that collective then again defends our individual rights. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. I think that's an excellent place to wrap up, guys. Hit the like button, share all over the place, guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Tapping in for the Maj Toure show every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. YouTube.com/Maj Toure. X.com/Maj Toure 999. Facebook. Follow me on Facebook and all that other good stuff too. Here is the link, guys. We put it right there. If you're watching on the comment section, hit that link right there. Let's get 10 people to donate at the $100 level. You can't donate at 100. Give what you can. That's the link right there. I will see you all tomorrow. Solutionaries. If you're in a Telegram group or if you want to get in the Telegram group, that's the freebie. Shoot me a DM on whatever platform you follow me on right now, right after this, and I'll make sure I get you access to the Telegram group, and we'll go from there. But the Telegram group is designed for you to look around, and then I want you to become a member. It's very important. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. I will see you all tomorrow. Be safe. Be solutionary.